Hi, boys and girls. We are going to start talking about some prefixes today. The first one we're going to do is a review that we did in another unit, and then the second part of the lesson is going to be a new prefix. So if you remember, a prefix is a syllable placed in front of a root word, and a prefix changes the meaning of the root word. For example, we're going to talk about the prefixes dis and miss, okay? Dis, when we put that in front of a word, dis means not. Miss means wrong. This week's root words are verbs, so we're putting these prefixes in the front of verbs. Do you remember what a verb is? It's an action word. You can see Mr. Brainy there dancing. When dis and miss are added to verbs, the new words are also verbs. So they're not changing, they're still verbs. It's just that their meaning has changed. Let's look at these together. Dis. This prefix means not. It means not. Okay? So let's read this word together. Agree. Say it with me. Agree. What does it mean? I agree with your decision to stay inside since it is so cold. That means that you feel the same as somebody else about something. Now read this new word when we put dis in front of the root word. Disagree. Say it with me. Disagree. What does the word mean now? It means not agree. So now it means we do not agree. Can you think of examples of things you might disagree with others about? Maybe you disagree about the ice cream flavor that is your favorite. Maybe you disagree about whether or not you should have to make your bed in the morning. Okay? Those are things we can disagree with. Let's look at another example. Here's the prefix dis, that means not. Let's read this word together. Obey. Say it with me. Obey. At puppy school, I teach Barkley to obey my commands. That means that he's doing what he's supposed to do. If you obey your parents, it means you do what you're supposed to do. Now let's read the new word with dis in the front of it. Disobey. Now what does the word mean? It means you do not obey. You do not do what you're told to do. Can you think of a sentence that uses the word disobey? How about maybe Barkley will disobey? Or maybe, did you disobey when you didn't make your bed? Let's look at another example of dis. Still means not. It always means not. Read this word with me. Trust. Again, trust. I can trust my best friend to keep my secrets. That means that you're confident that what you tell somebody, they're not going to go and tell other people, right? The new word with dis in front of it, distrust. Read it again. Distrust. Now it means we do not trust. We do not have trust. Can you think of a sentence that uses the word distrust? One more. This prefix means not. Dis means not. Still, always does. It never changes its meaning. So let's read this word. Like. I like whipped cream on my strawberries. Well, that means you enjoy it, right? Let's read it with dis in the front. Dislike. Again, dislike. Now it means that we do not like something. What are examples of things you dislike? I dislike when people are mean to each other. I dislike Brussels sprouts. Okay? It's when you don't like something. we have one more. Dis still means not. Let's read this word. Connect. Read it again with me. Connect. You need to connect your iPad to the Wi-Fi to use Safari. It means you're connecting, right? You're putting it together. Let's read this. Disconnect. Disconnect. It means you're not putting it together. It's not together. Can you think of a sentence that uses the word disconnect? We will have to disconnect the Wi-Fi if you're not being responsible. Okay? Dis still means not. Let's read this word. Approve. I approve of your healthy snack choice. That means that you think it's okay. Let's put dis in front of it. Disapprove. Disapprove. Now what does it mean? It means you do not approve. You do not agree with it. Can you think of something Mrs. Moore or Mrs. Goshert or even your parents would disapprove of? How about not completing your schoolwork? Maybe for your parents, it's not completing your chores at home. Okay? We're going to take a look at activity book page 4.1. So find it in your, let me turn so that you can see it. Oh, you still can't see it. We're going to take a look at 4.1 on page 32 in your activity book. And we're going to write 4 other words on this other side. Pause the video if you need to find your worksheet. There we go. There's 4.1. So dis is the prefix meaning not. We have 4 words here. We have, read them with me, disagree, disapprove, disobey, distrust. We're going to put a couple other words on the other side that use the word, the prefix dis. Here's one, dislike. That's similar in meaning, which means it could be a synonym to disapprove. Here's another one that we talked about in our lesson, disconnect. So go ahead and write that down, disconnect. Another one, disappear. So to appear means that you're here. To disappear means gone. And last, this is appropriate for the times we're living in, disinfect. So we want to not infect. Okay? So those are, that's the word shelf for dis. Let's go over to 4.2. And you're not doing anything up in the top box, but down at the bottom here, it says choose the right word to complete each sentence. Write it on the line. So you're using these 4 words in the box to figure out what goes in the 3 sentences. And number 4, write your own sentence using the 1 word that's left in the box. So let me read the sentences to you, and you need to fill in the blank with the correct word, and it must be spelled correctly and neatly. Number 1, our teacher had to blank the projector from the computer to see if she could fix the display problem. Is that disobey, disapprove, dislike, or disconnect? Number 2, we blank people who call our house and insist they aren't selling something because they really are. We disobey, we disapprove, we dislike, we disconnect. Number 3, you should not blank a police officer if he tells you not to cross the street yet. You should not disobey, disapprove, dislike, or disconnect. And number 4, the word that's left, you're writing your own sentence. When you write your own sentence, make sure you have a capital at the beginning, ending punctuation, a subject, and a predicate, which means you have a noun and a verb in your sentence. You will submit 4.2 on Schoology.